That's him spray painting the side of a mosque.
Row of Life, Tuesday 9:30.
Jews are of their father, the devil.
I'm whiter than Hitler. But basically one night I masturbated in your bed.
The series that will send you to hell on a double DVD collector's edition. Over an hour and a half of bonus footage, the uncensored Rove fatwa story, and a Bible full of bonus exorcism scenes. John Safran versus God, the double DVD, out now.
You're walking flypaper for demons.
Welcome to the show, John.
Bob, do all Asians look the same?
They reckon to us all outsiders look the same. That's what they say.
Because I thought like for Australians, like all Asians look the same, like back in the 80s or whatever. But now it's like, it's not like that. But we've got like 3 Asian people working on this show.
Yes.
And on several occasions, there's been this awkward moment.
Asians?
Asians. There's been an awkward moment where like either a guest or someone else
Is what?
confuses one of the Asian people with one of the other Asian
ridiculous.
people. It's bizarre. And because I didn't realise that still happened. We've got like this editor and our boss came in, Debbie Lee, who's like, you know her. She's the woman from SBS in Sydney.
Yeah.
And she'd come down.
She who cannot be refused.
She walked into the edit and the editor
Said what?
called Debbie, like the big boss, called her Michelle, who's one of like the shit kickers on the show. And then it was like all awkward because the only way to explain it was that Adam, the editor, thought Debbie looked like Michelle because they're both Asian.
Oh, is that why he's sacked?
No, it's not sacked.
Oh.
I liked it. It was one of my favourite moments.
I'm sure it would, you know.
No one could
stir
say
up
it.
angst.
No one could say. Everyone knew it. Everyone in the room knows what's going on here. It's like he thought it was Michelle because they're both Asians, but no one could say it, so everyone's just they're awkwardly.
Well, I think we've become far more, you know, over the last 20, 30 years, surely to God we can tell the difference between Vietnamese and mainland Chinese and Khmers and Mongs and...
Didn't you used to chase a Chinaman around?
Oh, the poor Chinaman, the fruitman. I'd like to apologise to the Chinaman and to his family and descendants who used to visit Pridham Street, Paran, in the horse and cart. Barely fit up the street, it was so small, this street. And he used to sell vegetables in the street.
And what was your race?
We used to call out terrible things. Am I allowed to do this, or will
you're allowed to do
the racist police will be...
No.
Ching Chong Chinaman.
That's not good.
Yeah, we did. Then we confessed to the priest.
And what did he say?
He said, "That's I forgive you your sins," or was in Latin in those, "De inde ego te absolvo." Beautiful.
Sounded like he had a racial slur in there. Was like, what, Dago?
De Ingo.
Oh, sorry.
Not De Ingo, De... shut up, get on with the business, for God's sake.
Bob, apropos of nothing, and certainly not apropos of what your personal inclinations may be, what happens when you accept the teachings of the Catholic Church, but you're also gay? Please introduce our guest.
We've got John Hurd. He's a writer, he's gay, he's Catholic and he's conservative.
Here I am.
Now, John, is having gay sex a sin?
Yes.
But you're gay?
I'm same-sex attracted.
See, that's better. That's another... See what I mean?
See, this is the thing. The church differentiates between homosexual acts, gay sex, anal sex, that kind of thing.
Yes.
And people who have what, you know, the world would probably call gay inclinations and the church calls same-sex attraction or homosexual inclinations.
So what's wrong according to the church? Both? Neither? One?
Well, the acts themselves are called intrinsically evil, so therefore they're sinful. If you engage in them, you're willfully turning away from God and you're engaging in sin. The inclinations are objectively disordered, but that says nothing about the people who have these inclinations. It doesn't say that the people themselves are sinful, purely because they're attracted to other men and they want to have sex with them.
Yeah, so within the parameters of your understanding of Catholicism, your position makes complete sense.
Oh, well, my position
within those parameters of sin.
Yes, absolutely.
And
I think the Pope knows more about gay people than most gay people do.
And do you take communion?
Yes. if I'm properly prepared for it by, confessing my sins to a priest.
Now, in your writing, you've had a go at the rainbow sash people.
I have.
The homosexuals who turn up to take communion and they're wearing gay pride sashes. Mm-hmm. Seeing you have gay inclinations, but you take communion. What's the difference between you and the rainbow sash people?
Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah.
Okay, the difference is wearing a rainbow sash means that you approach the altar where Catholics believe Christ is truly present on the altar. The Eucharist is Christ.
Yes.
You approach your God instead of in a position of radical humility and submission, and putting everything about selfish humanity aside, and approaching God in that way. Putting on the sash says, "Fuck the church. Look at me." That's why anybody who approached the altar with some sort of protest banner across their chest and drew attention to themselves in the middle of a sacramental ritual would be turned away as well. It's not discrimination against gay people. It's just the discrimination against protests in a cathedral.
Oh, so the different, because even though you kind of are pretty out there with your gay inclinations, you're saying that's different because that's not in the context of approaching the altar.
No, it's different because I say the church is right, and I say that I submit myself to these teachings, and I'm trying to change myself. I would go up to confession, and confess things that I've done. The rainbow sashes don't. They say we should be able to do whatever we like, and the Vatican should put a stamp on it.
Have you thought about Christian deprogramming ministries such as Exodus?
No, they're not at all popular in the Catholic Church. Even Courage, which is the apostolate that I'm not involved with, but other people are, which tries to help people deal with their same-sex attraction, doesn't necessarily try to turn them into, well, maybe they do, but I don't think they do, try to turn people into heterosexuals. However I am, I may have been born like this, or I may have learnt it from my mother, or she'd kill me for saying that, but this is how I am, and I rejoice in what God's made.
So what steps are you taking? What are you actually doing to try to de-gay yourself?
I don't need to de-gay myself. I need to de-secularize myself. I need to stop thinking that, gay activists know better than, my Pope, my religion, the path to flourishing for me. I need to start thinking, well, instead of reading the Age editorial page to work out what the Vatican should be doing, perhaps I should read the Bible.
Or Romano or something.
Oh.
So
St. Augustine or something. Yeah.
Are you planning just to move to that area where you're just a bachelor, or are you planning on going all the way and settling down with a wife?
Oh no! Well, I wouldn't want to settle down with a wife because I'm what secular society would call a gay man. Mm. I have no interest in women except mothers and sisters and friends and things like that. I love men. I fall in love with men. This is whatever it is. It's being given to me by God or wherever it's come from, and I have to deal with it. It would be.
So the big plan is to be a non-practicing man with gay inclinations. That's going to be the end point.
No, the end point is the same end point that it is for any Catholic, is to approach my religion in a serious way and end up at a point where I can resemble Christ in some way, which would be, as a single person, chastity.
And why are you playing out this struggle sort of in public?
Well, it's because, like a number of other same-sex attracted young men, I initially thought the Vatican was wrong. I was sure that, I knew more about sexuality, certainly my own sexuality, than a bunch of, men in dresses in marble halls. So, but I also thought, well, hang on, I have this extraordinary devotion to Christ. I've been wounded by Christ and the beauty of the Catholic Church. How can I reconcile these two? So I thought I'll adopt a posture of submission and see how it works out. And, surprise, surprise. It's worked out in the Church's favour and in my favour, and I think I've become more orthodox and more Catholic since challenging these ideas.
Thank you very much for joining us, John.
Thank you.
What's up with homophobia? A couple of weeks back on the show, there was this stunningly outrageous homophobic attack on the gay Serbian Orthodox, who was our matchmaker. Let's look at this segment.
I'm interested in maybe learning from someone who's more religious than I am. So to take,
maybe a clergyman.
That'd be a bit risque, wouldn't it?
Don't look at me, mate. Don't look at me.
That lashing out at our lashing out on our gay guest, I was stunned Father Bob. Now, it got me to thinking, I've always wondered, are there facts to back up the anecdotal claim that people who are homophobic have latent homosexual tendencies? Or is it just like this little wives' tale theory? Please introduce the guest.
Yes, Dr. Stephen Angelides, who's a research fellow at the Australia Centre, University of Melbourne, is the author of A History of Bisexuality, which is from the University of Chicago Press.
Well.
Are there any studies to back up the claim that homophobic people are latent homosexuals?
There was a really interesting study that came out of the US in 1996, and a bunch of psychologists wanted to test this psychoanalytic theory. And so what they did was they got a group of heterosexual college students, and they had them fill in this homophobia index, which is like a personality profile, and which rated them as either more or less homophobic. Then they put what was like a penis lie detector on them, which is a sort of mercury and rubber gauge they put on their penises. And then they had them watch straight porn, lesbian porn and gay male porn. And what they found was that, and they're all hetero men, what they found was that everyone rated pretty much the same levels of sexual arousal to the straight porn and the lesbian porn, but the most homophobic group, there's a high proportion of them that actually became sexually aroused by the gay porn.
Wow.
So it doesn't necessarily mean they're oppressed gay homosexuals, but that it does kind of indicate that they've had some experience of repressed or homosexual desire.
Is there a mirror of homophobia where gay people hate straight people for being straight, or even gay people bashing straight people for being straight?
I mean, there probably is. I don't know of many examples, although there used to be that kind of urban myth that there was a group of gay... I don't know if it's an urban myth. A group of gay men in Adelaide that used to go around smashing bottles and sticking them up the bums of straight men and stuff. But I don't know. Look, it's possible. I just think that, that really violence is about results from being powerless and desperate about that situation, having no social support. So if there are gay men that are in that situation, they possibly could. But I think that gay men...
And what about just hating, if not bashing, gay people hating straight people for being straight?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, there's a fair bit of that. I just like to think that homosexuals, because they've experienced a kind of marginalisation and an internalisation often of feelings of inferiority that have been projected onto them by society, I'd like to think they don't externalise their anger in terms of hatred and violence, but there's no guarantee for that.
Now, if you're part of a small ethnic tribe, like the Amish or the Zoroastrians, and your numbers are dwindling, isn't there a social benefit to homophobia because it's going to discourage people from being gay, encouraging them to be fruitful and multiply?
No. I mean, people are still going to root people of the same sex, whether they're married or in heterosexual relationships. I mean, the desire to reproduce a group is not the same as the desire to have sex, and the two can go, hand in hand.
Because that's whenever I attack this one here about how come the Bible lays the boots into homosexual men. That's your theory that you come out back in those days.
Yes,
it was helpful for the tribe, the little Jewish tribe, to put restrictions on.
Yeah, but he's made the distinction between having sex and bonding for a more profound reason.
Bob, please thank the guest.
Yes, Stephen, thanks very much, not only for being here, but also for the work that he's doing for the community.
Thanks, Bob.
Prime Minister John Howard has encouraged couples planning marriage to take pre-marriage classes to help cut the divorce rate.
How much do you have to despise your partner before you leave them?
I wouldn't have a clue. I'm not married myself. I don't know what the standards of amongst you lot out there in the married world, how much you've got to despise your partner.
Bob, if you've been with someone for 10 years and then just say they got cancer, you should stick with them till the end, right?
Until death do us part. That's what you say at the altar.
Just say you've only been seeing them for like 2 months and then they get cancer. Do you have to stick with them until, or what? Or do you kind of like
more advice than that? I mean, this is not a bloody ATM when you go and bing, yes, I've been together with my girlfriend for 2 months.
Well, what questions do you want?
Could you please give me an immediate printout of what to do? Blunk. Oh, leave it. Well, this is crazy.
I'll just say you're just dating them. It's not even like a marriage. Yes, sorry, don't leave that bit out. Just say you're dating someone for 2 months.
Just an unimportant detail.
Yeah, just say okay, I'm putting it into the Bobby ATM.
Yeah.
Bing, bing, bing.
Yeah.
Just say you're dating someone for
Yeah.
2 months, then they get cancer.
Yes.
Do you stick with them?
But if you're a decent person, you'll probably stick with the person. And there's no overall rules in church ATMs. Boom, and out comes the answer.
If your husband has an affair, should you leave him?
No.
Oh, really? Well, how many affairs?
Press the button.
Ping.
2.
2. Oh, 2 affairs. You see, this is more like it. This is what the show should be like. That's what I want to hear. So, basically, your husband's allowed to have 2 affairs.
Press the button.
Bing.
Your funds have been used up. There was no further funds.
Are you allowed to beat your kids?
Are you allowed to beat your kids, ladies and gentlemen? Can you imagine being questioned by this gentleman, for hours and hours on end? Because it takes hours to make these episodes of 25 minutes, Hours I go through this. Are you allowed to beat your kids?
Yeah, or hit them.
No.
What about, they're about to, burn themselves or whatever, so you're going, Nigel, like that. Are you allowed to do that?
That's not very... What did you do then?
I was beating
Well, you've just
hypothetical
spilt
Nigel.
the scalding water all over the child, you fool. Don't do that, John.
Is there any circumstance in which you're allowed to hit your child?
No.
Were you ever hit by your parents?
No.
Not even once. I find that
No.
hard to believe. I feel like headbutting you after 5 minutes.
I never had them, parents. How can I be hit by them?
Yeah, you had them till you were 14. They had plenty of time to beat you in those 14
They wouldn't be hitting me
years.
before 14. Why would you be hitting kids before 14?
I don't know.
And afterwards they're
Generally,
too
no,
big
you
anyway.
yes.
I think my old man came back from the sea. He was a sailor, my old man. And I think once my mother did say to him, this is the only time I remember physical contact with my father, I think he probably did slap me. I can't remember. But old Jimmy, God rest his soul, I've forgiven him though.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah.
with a whack across the head or something?
Well, that's the only time we communicated.
He never hugged you or anything?
Well, no, he was away in the sea.
But not even one hug?
Not as far as I remember, but I don't remember.
Have you ever hit a child?
Never.
Have you ever hit your dog?
Child, wait a minute. Have I ever hit this? No, I've never. Oh, and the old dog's dead, God rest its soul.
You hit the old dog?
I think so.
With what?
With my hand. What else do you think with what?
So it's not okay to hit kids, but it's okay to hit your old dog Rocky?
It's not okay. Just because one does it doesn't mean to say one thinks it's okay.
So it was like in fury?
It was in frustration. Like this other dog that everybody thinks is a saint sat there dribbling and they say, oh, what a lovely dog. This is the dog, ladies and gentlemen, who when I made a chicken thing, what do you call it?
Fillet.
Yeah, and I put it up on the microwave and I went outside to do whatever I was doing. I come back and the bloody thing's gone. And he had gone up on the... God knows how he did it. He may have levitated. See?
Are you accusing Franklin of doing transcendental meditation?
Yeah, I think there's things
behind
going
your
on.
back.
Yes, I reckon. Don't leave your chicken on top of the microwave oven, ladies and gentlemen, uncovered, even if it's 8 feet off the ground, if you've got a levitating dog.
Who is our guest this week?
Jackie Sainsbury, have I pronounced that right? Seventh-day Adventist she is. And the question is, how is a Seventh-day Adventist different from a regular Christian?
We're different to most other Protestants in that we keep the biblical Sabbath, which is on a Saturday, as John would be aware. And we do this because we believe that there is no biblical evidence in the New Testament that it has been changed.
They get that right, unlike your people. Now, you're a recent convert.
Yes.
Why?
Well, as recent as 4 months ago, I was baptised. Why? Because a year and a half ago, I had a dream that I believe led me to find out this church. And
Well, what happened in the dream?
so I'm walking through a field of wheat and everything's fine. It's a nice sunny day. And then people start running by me and they're screaming. And everything just starts to change, the mood of the whole field. And I turn this way to look behind me what they're running from. Big flash of light. And the next thing I wake up, I've been knocked to the ground. And then there's...
So how did this connect with Seventh-day Adventistism?
Because of the wheat.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Because, like, Sanitarium owned by the Seventh-day Adventists, they've got the little wheat bit in their logo.
Yeah.
But that's not true. We're making that up, isn't it?
No, they actually do have the logo.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have then said, oh, God, I'm lying in a field of wheat. I'm going to eat wheat mix for the rest of my life.
No.
Quick, tell me next. What's the
Long
next?
story short,
Yeah.
I woke up and I realised that it was a dream, and I had to read the Bible for about 3 days, found the passage where Jesus tells the parable of the harvest, the wheat and the tares. And it just gave an explanation of my entire dream.
How can this Seventh-day Adventist guy be sure you're with the faith for the long term, seeing you've only converted for 4 months, you've had no cooling off period? Just say you get bored.
Okay. I can't really give them an answer.
No.
Because we don't know.
Now, according to the 2001 census, Father Bob, there
I
are
was interested in that.
53,844 Seventh-day Adventists in Australia, 24,330 males, 29,514 females. If you're one of the 24,330 males not currently attached, what should you do?
Mailbox at speakingintongues.com.au or Post Office Box 434 Paran, Victoria 3181.
Thank you very much, Jackie.
Thank you very much, John and Bob.
Bob, I am sick of people accusing us of not actually having a real billboard in the real world in which the winning entry goes up. Can we show a photo on the screen now? It's there. Bob's billboard this week. First entry from Kevin via the email. Oi, get ya over here.
Bit, isn't it?
A bit, isn't it? What?
A bit primeval.
Bit primeval.
Bit grunty.
Yeah, that's okay, isn't it?
You know what I mean?
Do you like
a little more sophistication. Anyway, go on, give us another one.
Tim Stubbs via email. Hey, Rabbi, you sure you're praying to the right God?
See, this is you've taken 10 episodes, haven't you? To sneak the Jewish thing in here.
You know
all of those have got to do with your synagogue.
You know Yeshua, because that's the Hebrew name.
Oh, yes, I know that.
For Jesus.
Yes.
Well, I thought I might explain it, because I don't imagine, except for the Jews for Jesus demographic out there, they'd know that Yeshua.
Right, go on. I'm not impressed with those. Go on.
Uh-oh. Well, you're not going to be impressed with this. From David Kalija, the Catholic Church, we're on the highway to Pell.
Good God. Well, that one there, George Pell's name is on the front of the church already in gold lettering.
Well,
now I think once is enough. What's the first?
Oi, get ya over here.
Yeah, I'm a little bit, you know what I mean, a bit attracted to that.
Kevin,
yes.
Up this week, I'll be down with the magnetic letters on Tuesday?
Tuesday. Done.
What happens if people want to send in a billboard, Bob?
Oh, sorry, mailbox at speakingintongues.com.au or Post Office Box 434 Paran, Victoria 3181.
Are you allowed to people smuggle?
No.
Just say you're like saving refugees' life. Like you're not in it for the money. You've just got these people over where in Sudan, in Iraq, or whatever, and they're going to be tortured by the Janjaweed, or whatever they're called, in Sudan.
I know.
Are you allowed to help them get to Australia?
Oh, God, I suppose yes. But when you get here, you meet Mrs. Vanstone.
That's worse than the Janjaweed.
Well, there's people moving around all over the world. Why can't they go where they want to go? That's what I'm saying.
So you're allowed to people smuggle?
Smuggle is a bad word. Change the word. If you were a rescue, you know, like Oscar Schindler or somebody, you could call it the Ark. If it's an Ark, it's all right.
Bob, you mentioned in last week's show, in jest, that your aversion to socialising is so pronounced that possibly you have Asperger's disease.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing is,
or something.
I went on the internet this week and there was an Asperger's support group, forum, and this is from months and months and months ago. They weren't it wasn't in response to anything we said on the show last week. And someone, just cold, was speculating on you from, hearing you on Triple J and seeing you on the show, that you really have signs of Asperger's disease.
Yeah.
Bob, I want experts to contact us, mailbox at speakingintongues.com.au. If they think they can diagnose what your issues are. You have to have some kind of qualification or some kind of background.
Yeah.
But I think it would be good because
Oh, yes, I'm sure it'll be stimulating.
then maybe by week 12 we'll have you all sorted out. And you'll
Yes,
be...
and a little place to live with all other Asperger sufferers, you know, a little Asperger villages somewhere in Aspen.
Thank you, Father Bob.
Thank you, John.